Hey, shout out to Paul Skenes. The list of major league players to be drafted first overall and make the All-Star team the very next season. How many people do you think are on that list? 1. Paul Skenes. That's it. That's the list. Big props to Paul Skenes.
The hard cut. Love that. Whew.
Evan says, get Ronaldo Lopez on the bump to start the All-Star game, leading in the ERA category.
I like that.
Hey, you know what? A lot of people don't like to talk about ERA as much anymore, but I'm still holding fast and strong to the statistical category of ERA because that's important. Because the point of a pitcher is to limit runs.
That's the whole point.
Specifically, runs that you can control, which is what earned runs are. Yeah. So, I wouldn't hate it. That's another guy I had in fantasy and traded away because I didn't think that was going to last. Yeah. Ronaldo Lopez said, suck one. So
Imanaga, has he righted the ship at all? I haven't looked at the last few starts, but I know there was a real tough streak going.
Yeah. His last outing he went 6 deep against the Phillies, only gave up 3 runs, had 8 Ks.
Okay.
And honestly,
it's not a quality start.
We say right of the ship. Honestly, outside of that start against the Mets where he got routed for 10 runs on 11 hits in just 3 innings. Before that, he was doing just fine. Really. I mean, there was a rough start against the Brewers I'm seeing here. But Reds, he went 6 2/3, 7 Ks. Cardinals, 7 innings, 6 Ks, 1 earned run. Giants went 6 innings, only gave up 3. So I mean, I think righted the ship, and I'm not saying you're wrong for saying that because I kind of felt the same way. At least that's how I was perceiving it.
This is like a uneducated, haven't looked at numbers. I've just I saw that one blow up, and
yeah,
I thought it was followed by something rough afterwards as well.
I mean, to say we haven't looked at numbers, I mean, that's just speaking very recently because there for a while we were only looking at numbers with Shorty Imanaga because he was just putting up incredible start after incredible start. So that's a fair assumption, but based on what we're seeing numbers wise as of late, it was really just that one blow up, and I think he's been fine otherwise.
I think it's crazy that you could probably have guessed that there would be 2 Brave starters that were going to make the All-Star team. I don't think anyone would have said these 2 names, though.
That is an excellent point.
That's pretty crazy.
That is an excellent point.
To get punched in the mouth the way they did with Strider, and it's good for these 2 guys, specifically Reynaldo. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Evan in the chat says, as much as I like Skenes, he hasn't been pitching all seasons. I feel like it'd be a slap in the face to let Skenes start versus a pitcher who's been lighting up all year.
I think it would be a little bit of a buzz decision.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But look, I mean, the reality of it is, and I feel like 9 times out of 10, I'd probably agree with Evan. And I'm not saying I disagree or agree, but let's just look at let's look at his body of work thus far. And I understand he hasn't been here. He hasn't been here all year. He's 5-0. He's got an ERA of 2.12.
How many starts? 7? 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
He's got 10 starts, dude.
Okay. 10 starts.
We're double-digit starts for Skenes. A whip of 101, 78 strikeouts. Can I just run through his log of Ks thus far?
Please do.
All right, so he made his debut against it because remember he had those back-to-back starts against the Cubs to start his career. 7 Ks, and this is starting from his first start to now. 7 Ks, 11 Ks, 3 Ks. 9Ks, 8Ks, 8Ks, 7Ks, 8Ks, 9Ks, 8Ks. Normally, like I said, normally I would agree with something like that where it's like, hey man, this guy hasn't put up the full body of work. But like if the only thing that you can knock Paul Skenes on is the innings, but everything else he's done production wise has, I don't know, like at least been somewhat in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Of what some of these other guys have done. And I'm not
That's
saying
true.
I'm not saying comparatively to a guy like Chris Sale or something, because Chris Sale is obviously having like a career year. But like for a guy that makes the All-Star team, for him to have numbers that are comparable to what other guys have done the whole first half, I mean, that's just, you don't see that very often. You don't see that very often.
No, it's a great point. It's a really good point. I don't know. I'd love to see it. I'm not going to complain if that's the case. But I do think that there's I think it's just a level of respect. Why am I blanking on who's in the the Diamondbacks. Duh. I was trying to think of who the manager is going to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Torey Lovullo's he's been around the game long enough that I think there's like this I don't think there's an unwritten rule about this because this is pretty unprecedented. Like this is like an uncharted territory thing, but I think there is like this understanding of earning your way that Torey Lovullo will probably recognize. But at the same time, it's like this game doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And this guy is literally quickly becoming a very, very household name for our game.
Even outside of baseball.
Outside of baseball fans.
And we can mock the whole Livy Dunn situation, but like the reality of it is that's very real factor here.
We've got the same way, and I'm not putting on the same scale fandom wise, but like you have non-NFL fans watching NFL games for Taylor Swift. So that is there. I don't know, man. I wouldn't hate it. Anyway. Reliever wise, I'm not feeling this at all.
Well, last thought on the Skenes thing. Your point about there being a feel for Torey being like, hey, you know, you got to earn your way here. I agree with you 1,000%. But it makes one wonder how much of, or if at all, of an influence does, say, the powers that be. I don't know who that is with Major League Baseball or somebody above Torey. I don't know how much influence is taking place in regards to maybe possibly giving Skenes the nod because of the impact that he's had in.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's plenty of argument there. There's plenty of argument that someone could be pushing this along.
Like somebody just getting in his ear and be like, hey man, like we get your background. We get kind of your whole earn your stripes situation and your upbringing and the way that you manage the game. But we got a guy that a lot of people are talking about right here on our hands. And this doesn't come around very often. So maybe let's just give the people what they want.
You can also make the argument that Torey Lovullo might not find himself back in this seat. This could be a once-in-a-lifetime thing for him.
Very real
So
possibility.
why not rock the boat? You know what I'm saying? Why not go out with a bang? So
very valid.
I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be weird to see if he does. I don't think there's going to be any open backlash, but I think there is going to be this poor taste in the mouth for veterans. It's hard to say, though.
Andrew says Livy Dunn over Paul Skenes. Yeah, I mean, depends on who you ask, I guess. But I can't really comment on that, Nate. I don't think you can really comment on that either.